right, my darling Pisces, welcome, welcome. This will be your August reading. I hope you made it through last month with some evolutionary growth. Very exciting to listen to all your comments and watch you all going through things and being so diligent in your own intuition development. So we're going to do a new type of reading to keep you moving forward in your divination skills. So all from the Stalk Your Shadow Oracle deck, making it a full shadow reading, which I think you'll find nice and juicy. So 4 different cards for you, my darlings. We're going to work with something that we do at the Ankara Academy a lot, which is we work with our students to understand a concept around, like, sometimes your guides put you into a training program. So that can be similar to an upgrade or maybe an ascension chapter, or just a period of time where you're being taught by the universe, by your guides, by your higher self, a certain themed learning. And that really helps us because our minds have been, industrialized by school systems and things. I think we work well with, what are we learning on a spiritual level? How can we consent, give permission to, and surrender into that learning? And then what are the themes so we can stay on top of the signs, the lessons, the invitation, the tests, the challenges, the discomfort, knowing that it's not going to last forever. We're getting one training program and out the other side, we'll have a whole bank of knowledge, wisdom, experience, so that we can take a breather, wait for the next training program, understand it, integrate it, right? So we're going to use that analogy for this month, for August. So each card will tell us a bit about the journey. First card at the top I'm pulling is an anchor card. So if you have the deck or another oracle deck, feel free to use this spread. The anchor card is, what is the training program? So Buffalo, incredibly strong being, is really invoking a training program around sturdiness, security, safety, and how you're providing that for other people, not with how much you give, not with how sweet you are, not with the words that you say, but just by your presence. So the training program really is talking about, if I facilitate my own growth, if I secure my own financial freedom, physical health, emotional well-being, that alone in a group of people will anchor people into that paradigm. Very cool information around that training program coming through. So it's like, I don't do self-care, build my resources, make my life abundant just for me. But I also don't go out there hyper-fixated on fixing and changing everybody else either. There must be, what I do for me also sends a ripple effect out that benefits others. So if my nervous system is regulated, if I'm emotionally regulated, if I'm providing my own support systems, if I'm working on my own security, if I'm developing myself in meaningful ways, the action and the behavior of that and my presence and my energy is enough to influence other people, the environment, and send that energetic frequency out. What I've been hearing a lot this week is, the pain of feeling misunderstood or not seen in something or not heard in something. And certainly when a lot of people step up into a new chapter, which means they get new opportunities, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a new invitation, maybe it's a spiritual upgrade, they stay stuck in, but I need someone to understand me and I need someone to see me in that. Buffalo really says, don't wait around for anyone to understand it, to see it, to hear it, and to understand you at your core. That's your responsibility. Go out there and be the strongest version of yourself that you can manage, and let that be enough to show people that you're putting in the work, right? A lot of us can sit in, but they don't get it, and nobody really gets me. But it's like, if we get out there and do the work, people notice a change. They go, what's going on with you? There's something different. You're like, yeah, I've been doing the work. And most of it goes unseen, unheard, misunderstood, not validated, and sometimes not even felt. But the right people sort of will get it and they'll see whether you look healthier, more stable, whether they can see through your capacity to show up to your life, whether you're just relaxed. I'm certain that can be difficult for women. So seeing a truly relaxed, nourished woman is like, oh, interesting. And seeing a really empowered but humble man is like, oh, very cool. And that's that buffalo feeling. Like there's something about that person. They've just got something together. They've got something balanced. They get something that I'm looking for. And those people, when they walk into a room, everyone relaxes. Like, oh, they're here and they've got it all together. That's great, right? They can be a leader of sorts or a positive influence just by managing to find a sense of sturdiness and groundedness within themselves. So keep that in mind as your training program this month. A card for 3D, a card for the 4D pivot space, and a card for 5D. You're multidimensional beings. You can work on all of your energy centers. Bottom 3 relate to 3D. 4th relates to 4D, which is your heart center. Heart Empress, heart chakra, Anahata, whichever you like. 5D relates to the upper centers. What we see a lot is people trying to develop the upper centers with no groundedness, no 3D security, no sense of structure at all. That can be very dicey. Others pretty good at 3D, but can't come into the heart space. Too afraid to trust the universe, too afraid to trust the self and other people. Don't experience much joy anymore. Compassion is a luxury that they don't really have. So be mindful of where the dysfunction is and then hack into that dimensional plane. So in your 3D centers, the grasshopper says, take a leap of faith. There's probably an upgrade in your 3D life that's been wanting to happen or will start to happen that will relate to this sturdiness or figuring something out within yourself. Take a leap of faith. It might be investing in yourself, investing in a coach, freeing up your time. Somehow it's like a lot of the time when we want to build our resources, we build them to a place so that we can use the resources to like buy back our time or increase our energy or turn time into money, whatever it is. So there's a leap of faith being needed there. So something that will feel scary and feel like a sacrifice really needs your commitment, and it's going to be a big jump forward. So it kind of makes me feel like when you have to sign up for a program or you take a chance on a course or you take a chance on a practitioner or a coach or something like that. But that leap of faith is meant to have that resistance, but it will actually fling you forward into a sense of stability that you're looking for. So that can be a person, that can be an environment, that could be moving house, switching jobs, bringing in someone, bringing in support somehow, and taking that leap of faith. So for those of you starting businesses, it could be bringing in your first team member, an assistant, a bookkeeper, a social media manager, something like that. It is a leap of faith. You hope that it all works out, but then we get that buffalo energy starting to come in. Well, if I have someone supporting my dreams with me, how much stronger and sturdier am I going to feel? Is that like an insurance policy for when I'm not up to it or when I don't have enough time? And what can I outsource and delegate, right? There's something coming through that needs a leap of faith. So when you see it or when you see a grasshopper in your environment, that is the time, right? The bigger the grasshopper, the bigger the leap of faith. I don't know about you guys, but over in Australia, we have grasshoppers about this big. So when I see them, I go, oh, that's a big leap. But when I see the tiny baby ones, I go, okay, little leap, that's fine. So moving into your 4D heart space, the pivot point, when we can transcend the ego and have a identity that serves our highest, we move into the heart. A lot of people say stuck here, downwards. So the ego is rigid, the ego controls everything, right? And if they stay in that paradigm, they don't let anything ever disrupt the ego's need to, you guys don't need to hear stay safe. There's another way that I can put this. When someone is stuck in those lower centers, they're generally needing to be right in all situations. They don't want to engage in learning because that would need the vulnerable place of, I don't know enough. They don't like to feel like they're under anyone, so they can be very controlling. They can control their partners, their loved ones, all sorts. So in those lower paradigms, it can almost feel like a pseudo spiritual experience at times, which means you feel like you're moving forward, but you hamster wheel back on issues. So if we're governed by the lower three centers only, we can never extend beyond overcoming problems in the same way. So this is where we really get stuck in perpetual problems, the same problems over again, the same arguments, the same illnesses, the same disease processes, the same relationship patterns. We're just churning. It's generally because we're staying in those lower centers. And it can be very difficult for the mind because the mind is telling you one thing and you're believing it. This is really where the ego narrative rules up until here. The ego is saying, right, we need to make more money. We need to have more time. We need to have more people in our life. That's great. But until we move into the heart center, we're never actually going and transcending the ego to understand that there is a higher organization of things. Now, the heart, you can be heart-led and not need to be in a spiritual paradigm. Heart-led is intuitively led, led by joy, trust, compassion, and connection. The ego will either over-attach or under-attach because it only really knows right and wrong, right? It will convince you that it's all about self-preservation, whereas the heart says, oh, this is risky, but I feel like I need to do it. Or let's try one more time. Or let's open our heart again, right? People that are open-hearted are generally prepared to go into that vulnerable space over and over again. Those that are ego-led, once they get hurt a certain amount of times, they shut down the connection part of their lives. They just say, look, it's just going to be me and working and this and that. So what comes through in the heart space for you this month is manta ray. Manta rays have a way of gliding effortlessly and beautifully through their lives. So I guess you're being asked to find in the heart radar a way to glide through those themes: connection, trust, joy, compassion. It can be very difficult for some people, particularly when we have been hurt. But the manta ray says we could find those themes easy if we wanted to. By choice and investment and will, we could make those parts of our life easy if we desired it to be, if we asked it to be, and if we focused on it. And manta ray comes with that almost awe-inspiring nature that says you might stand out a little bit if you become heart-governed. You might glide through areas that are very difficult for other people, but that doesn't mean you need to stop gliding through. So I would say the biggest problem that I hear the most is I don't trust anyone, I don't trust myself. And I don't really trust society, and I don't really trust the world. And I don't know if I trust the universe either, because why would the universe want me to feel pain? What if we found those parts of our lives just super dreamy good? Almost like, well, what would it take if I just fell in love with that discomfort and fell in love with the struggle and fell in love with that it's not easy, but I fell in love with trusting myself and then others and then the universe. And when someone lets me down or things don't go my way, I keep gliding and I find other things to trust, other people to love, other compassionate waters to glide through, not shutting it down and sending it down to the ego, who then just says, all right, we got to survive, we got to stay safe, let's never do that again, that's way too hard. But Mentoring is saying, like, keep gliding, keep swimming, keep embracing these themes and let it be easy, because it's actually more powerful than you realize. In 5D for the beautiful Pisces, this month is the frog. So the frog can jump easily between comfort and discomfort, right? Two animals that leap here with hind legs. So generally that is, from a 5D perspective, it will serve you to go into comfortable waters, which means, I'm comfortable with, my area, my environment, the things that are safe for me, and then jump out into discomfort. So take a risk, do something bold, try something new, sample it, come back into the comfort, right? This will add to the sturdiness, the buffalo feeling, the capacity for someone to take risks, be bold, have courage, do things outside of their comfort zone, and then integrate, is a pretty good system. So maybe you work hard most of the year, but then you do something that's completely out of the norm. So you go and learn a new hobby, you go sailing in another part of the world, you ride a horse when you have no experience, you start a dance class when you really don't know what you're doing, you start hobbies that are started by younger people or older people. Maybe you're in your 20s and you start playing bridge, or you're in your 70s and you take a gymnast class, like whatever. The frog is really saying the best place for you when you're coming from a 5D paradigm, because you've got these other bits sorted, is get really good at honoring comfort and going into discomfort and coming back. So the frog's capacity is to be in comfortable waters and eyeball something that would be both good for us but difficult, and prepare to go into something uncomfortable and then jump back out when you're done, right? And I think we can get stuck in too comfortable or too uncomfortable, right? So some people just keep on chasing discomfort. That can be a fight and flight mechanism. I just have to keep moving. I just have to, no, things are getting boring. No, I got to keep moving. I got to mix it up a bit. And then some can get way too obsessed with comfort. So your training program around sturdiness is still to learn, but making sure that you don't get too attached to either paradigm of comfort or discomfort. And that doesn't have much to do with your worth. So a lot of people can get into programs around judging themselves for needing the comfort, needing the stability, needing the sturdiness of a routine life, or feeling unworthy that they need to mix it up and they need to have an adventure and they need to break things up a bit too. It's like finding that balance for you and making sure we don't create chaos too often so that your nervous system can't recalibrate, and also that we're not rejecting the comfort. So if your nervous system is out of whack, go back to 3D, take those leaps towards regulation. So that tells me that you might need more routine, structure, safety, comfort. So take the leap towards that. That could be, right, I'm going to sign myself up to a fitness program. I'm going to finally see a nutritionist. I'm going to do yoga every day for a month, or whatever it is. It's like, take the plunge towards something that represents stability. Trust that it's all working out. Glide through those more difficult, vulnerable parts of your life. And then when the frog signals to you that it's time, then you move into discomfort and you come back quickly. So it might be starting with mini adventures and moving it out into big adventures. But instead of being uber comfortable, so you never mix it up, or going or convincing yourself you have to leave for 6 months and go on the biggest adventure of your life, you know, start with a week, come back, integrate. Did you integrate well? Did your nervous system catch up? Did you rest well? Did you understand everything? 2 weeks next time and come back. Okay, how was that? Was that good? And like moving forward in your development towards being sturdy, grounded, and connected all of the time, no matter where you are, no matter what's going on. So it feels like a really beautiful lesson, like an anchoring lesson that's really going to bring in that, you know, how do I cultivate this over time idea? Like this training program seems important to me because I want that presence and I want to feel that within my body, which just says, no matter what, I feel like I'll always get through it. I feel really strong. I feel really resilient. And I know that I can coordinate and have control over my own chaos. That feels really big. So the frog says, like, we don't have to wait for the universe to throw us under a bus and then go, oh, I get it. I've got to sit and learn. It can be like, okay, I realize that I need to stabilize now and then wait for my intuition to say, now we need an adventure and now we need to come back and work on that timing, I guess, and work on a timing from this place without draining the resources too much, right? So that can be a tricky balance to get, but I think you can work it out. It's like making sure that our need and thirst for discomfort and learning and growth doesn't become too obsessive and doesn't throw off our stability, particularly when we've worked so hard for it. So finding that balance is really important. So I hope that resonates with you. Let me know what parts are resonating. Comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe, all the things. It's totally up to you. If you want more structure and you want a closed community that is regulated, we don't let any negativity, hate, or anything like that in our Patreon group. It is completely encouraging. We are all cheerleaders for each other, and you participate at whatever level calls to you. So if that feels good for you, come on in. You can do a trial, 7-day free trial. You can cancel whenever you want. It's really there for you to find a place where other people are talking about these themes and you can feel included and celebrated in that. And then when it's not right, that's fine. You do you, right? So that is happening every month. We have things going on, including 21-day challenges. We have a book club. We have a group chat. We have a forum, live stream readings, coaching sessions with myself and another coach. So if you're interested, let us know. Otherwise, like the video or not. Either way, I love you so much. Bye.